So I have to say, when I talked first to Pam, and Pam was introduced to me, well, through Barbara, but I had known Pam before. It was like a conversation I didn't really know that I needed to have. I kind of, sort of, and anybody who's been to my place, you might think, oh, there's not a hair out of place. Would that be the case? So I came with my pickup truck, by the way, of things that I'm looking to hold on to and get rid of. But the idea of thinking about my belongings as in a way that is valued by the person giving me guidance, as opposed to kind of having a rote formula of, does it do this, does it do that, it seems like a very cold, abstract way to decide what's important. And talking to Pam, I love the way she kind of inhabits the gray areas. There's this idea of chaos and order, and finding the space in between the two, where you feel a sense of authority and connection with your treasure. I'm really looking forward to today. Pam has some books that she's going to talk about, but here's the person and not just the book. And I'm excited. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Carol. Good. Yay. It's wonderful to be here, especially for you people who are used to this. Anybody who works with elders, with olders, however you like to say it, knows that there's this thing that happens once you can see the end of your life. You can see it out there somewhere or another. It was funny because I'm 71, and I was thinking about getting into a 30-year mortgage. I'm not going to see the end of that, that's for sure. And when you see the end of your life, that's when you start to realize all this stuff that surrounds me, something is going to need to be done with it. And a lot of us, I was just talking to Polish, is in the middle of a big downsizing. A lot of us have gone through that, from the family house to a little condo or the assisted living or whatever it is. And this is just so important, and it's an opportunity, an incredible opportunity to have a relationship with your stuff, a good relationship with your stuff. Now, I've been doing this work for a good long time, and here we are in a commercial culture, which makes it so easy to get stuff. I mean, you don't even have to go outside your house. They bring it to you. You just go click, 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 and here comes the stuff. And once you have it, it's like, okay, now what? You have to read it. You have to use it. You have to put it somewhere. You have to dust it. And eventually you need to get rid of it. I mean, you are going to, either you or your heirs are going to get rid of it. It's, going somewhere or another. So this is the milieu that we find ourselves in, where it's easy come and not so easy go. So what I would like to do with you today is to introduce you to some really helpful strategies, some things that you can do, and also ways of thinking and feeling about this stuff that can really support you in the thing that we all need to do at some point or another. Most of us, some people are very spare. I go to a meditation at a place that's Japanese, very spare. They don't have an extra, piece of dust. They have nothing extra, which is really astonishing, especially in this culture. So you have with you a couple of handouts, and for anybody who's got one of these devices, I'm going to put it so that I'm going to set a time. I also do time management work. That's big of what I do. And one of the things that you'll learn about in a moment is about being able to close down the work, being able to exit, stop already. Most of us, and I'm going to ask for a show of hands, who here has ever said, gee, if I ever start working on that pile of stuff, I'm going to be stuck there all day. I'm going to be stuck there all weekend. I'm going to be stuck there for the rest of my life. Right. And think of what you just said. I'm not going to start because I'm afraid I won't be able to stop. So what we're going to do, and we're going to practice today, right now, is stopping. And we know that we need a break at about 11:15. And when I get into a little bit more detail about stopping, I'm actually going to set a timer. I'm going to set a timer, but not for 11:15 because we're going to need time to close it all down. We're going to need, I think for a group this big, maybe as much as 10 minutes, maybe 7. I'll set it for 7 to close down our session so we can gracefully take a break and then come back and do some more work. So, excuse me while I set my timer. I love this thing, by the way. Whoa, great, good work. All right, so 11:07. Okay, we're good to go until 11:07, and then we'll close down this morning's session, this first session. So you've got 2 handouts in front of you. One is this getting organized, this spiritual practice, which is the basic handout that I use for a weekend workshop. I mean, the whole weekend. So we're going to just touch on some of the things of this. By the way, that is a useful technique in getting organized, is what's more important. What do I let go of? So there's a lot here that we're going to let go of. This is set up according to the chapters of my book, The Spirit of Getting Organized, which has this stuff in spades. It's and it's a handbook with worksheets and all that kind of stuff. The other thing that you have in your hands is a single sheet called Straighten Up, dealing with stuff, the Straighten Up 4-point strategy. And this is something that's really a distillation of the way that I think about organizing. This is something that you can use with your clients. And obviously you can use it with yourself too. So we will, these are things that we will touch on, not go into great detail, but you've got it with you, which is great. So the first thing about an introduction for us is, you see on the large handout, there's 4 polarities: chaos and order, elsewhere and here and now, the outer and the inner, and the master and the servant. Let me touch on these just briefly. Chaos is all around us. It's just like, especially through the media, there's no order to it. It's just what happens to come up on your feed. And this is sort of the way things are in our culture. It's mostly chaos. It's sort of random what comes, although we do know about algorithms and those, computer feeds and all. The next one about elsewhere and here and now. Elsewhere is it reminds me of our commercial culture, which is always saying, oh, look here, oh, look there, oh, what about this, oh, what about that? Everywhere but here and now, everywhere but here and now. Our attention is drawn elsewhere continually in the culture where we live. The other thing, I mean, it goes along with it, the outer and the inner. We're predisposed to pay attention outwardly rather than inwardly. That's sort of the way it is. And we are in America, mastery is the big deal. You know, I am captain of my own ship and I can do it all and all of that. And servant, the word, we actually don't use that word much. We call them the cleaning lady or the handyman. And this thing about serving is something that in this culture we're a little bit uncomfortable with. Well, you notice that all the things that are on the left side there, chaos, elsewhere, outer, and master, is what is supported by our culture, by the surrounding culture. Look at the other side, not supported by the surrounding culture. And guess where you need to be is exactly in the middle, at the balance point between chaos and order, at the balance point between, you know, choosing to put your attention elsewhere and choosing to put your attention here and now. This is what we need to do, and because we need to do that, and because the surrounding culture supports this other stuff, we need to be very conscious about getting to the balance point and putting more energy and attention into that balance point. And this is the spiritual work that I'm talking about in this book. That's what it is becoming aware of where you're sort of defaulting to this culturally supported thing and where you need to develop some internal focus, some internal oomph to be able to do, you know, the balancing act. People pay good money to see that at Big Apple Circus and wherever you go. It is, you know, it's like, whoa, this is good. And you know what happens when the tightrope walker gets down? They get a standing ovation. You know, it's like, wow, this is really good. And I tell you, this work, this organizing work, deserves a standing ovation. It's not easy. It's not easy. So that's our little introduction right now. And what I would like you to do right now, and this is a curious thing, we're going to do this again and again. Take your big hand out and turn it over. You'll find a virtual blank sheet that's called Satisfaction Practice, Good Ideas. And what I would like you to do right now, right this minute, is note in 25 words or less any good ideas about organizing that you've got since you came in, not just since I started talking. I mean, this subject has been sort of rolling around in your brain. So I will actually time it. You got a minute to write down your good idea. So that starts now. And now if you would, because the person sitting next to you was not inside your head getting your good idea, they got their own. So in your tables, find somebody to talk to and share a good idea. Okay, so there's a couple of things that this actually was an exercise in getting organized. What you did was you were asked to sort of step outside of the flow, look back at what you've just done, and identify something useful. That sounds a little bit like organizing to me, it's identifying something useful. So let's get a couple of good ideas, and I mean just a couple. We'll have another opportunity, we'll have another couple of opportunities to do this. So let's have a good idea from the back of the hall on this side. Anybody got one we should put up?
Can you speak louder or use a microphone?
Okay.
Can't hear you.
We want to hear from the back of the room a good idea. I'm coming with the mic.
Maybe,
Huh?
maybe you can stand up and repeat it.
I will do that. I will repeat it from here. So I need to, back 3 tables. What do you got? Anybody?
I'll go. I just, in a writing group that I'm in, there was a writing piece about being on a seesaw when we were kids, right? And the joy of going up and down and, making that part. But one of the women said, what I loved most was the challenge of balancing the seesaw with my partner and staying as still as we could with our feet off the ground. And it was just a fabulous piece that resonated with what you just said.
Neat.
about the
Yes. Okay, so the repeat is that she got a charge out of being a kid on a seesaw and being balanced with both sides with the feet off the ground. It's like, whoa, this is really something. Okay, let's have one good idea from this side. I know, it's okay. During the break, you can go and look at it later. We'll see if we can get something else. Thanks for the comment, though. One good idea from this side of the room? Yes.
You have to make hard choices. I'm in the middle of this, but the result are great consequences, great sense of.
I'm having trouble hearing you. Could you say it again?
You make hard choices, but the consequences are very positive. Our choices in terms of.
Okay, so yes, you have to make hard choices, but the consequences, the results are very positive. And that's something that, by the way, we don't often do. We don't often take the time to step back and let the good consequences of what we do sink in. Yeah, okay. One comment from this side, I see Kendall's, he's got his hand up right this moment. Okay, what is it there?
I feel it's important to befriend my mess, and rather than having an antagonistic relationship.
Right, befriend my mess rather than having an antagonistic relationship with it. We all know that this is not easy. This is like being able to talk to people who disagree with you politically. It's sort of like that. So this is an opportunity for you to practice. Practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. Okay, great. So good. Thank you for this. This was the beginning, the start of our work together. What I'm going to do in this next chunk, and I'm a time checker. I'm a inveterate time checker. And it's 11:15. We're going to stop at 11:15. So I want to start out doing a demo for you. And this work, it's spiritual work, which is sort of like, whoa, boy, this stuff here. And it's very down to earth at the same time. This is the challenge, by the way, that humans have. Humans, one of the few beings on the earth that have their head in the clouds and their feet on the ground. That's what we do for a living. That is it, is to be able to bridge that between the unlimited desires, the unlimited ideas, the unlimited possibilities that we have, and the fact that we live in time and space, 24 hours in a day. That's it, period. You can't get any more. You've only got 24 hours in a day and the days of your life. There it is, out before you. Bingo. I always like this thing that, you know, the young graduate student who's pulled an all-nighter comes into the professor and says, gee, this paper would have been better if I had had more time. And the professor looks at her and said, well, you have all the time there is. There isn't it. That's it, period. So the whole deal is to be able to live gracefully and artfully and consciously with what we've got. Okay, so I'm gonna do the demo, which is gonna start to get into stuff. And this is gonna be more on this 4-point strategy. So you can take that out and look at it. I'm gonna need somebody to help me with this because I'm gonna be using my hands. Somebody, Meg, can you come up and help me with this? That would be great. So my sidekick Meg Newhouse, who I know from other contexts, which is just great. So I'm going to start with the demo of some stuff. So hold this so that I can talk you to it. Right.
Get which hand do you want?
This is good. That's good. Okay, folks.
Do you do magic tricks too?
Yeah, that's what this is. Okay, here we go. Ready, set. Hooray, the stuff. Here comes the stuff. There it is. Does this look familiar to anybody? Yeah, right. And what I would encourage you to do actually is that before you do any serious organizing, to take a picture of what it looks like before. Really take a picture of it. Okay, so now we're going to do something, and I'm going to need somebody else here. Who's got a phone with a stopwatch on it? Okay, in the back, what your name is with a beautiful, yes, Amy? Amy, okay. We're going to do the first step of getting organized, and I would like you to, when I tell you, to start a count of stop, okay? I'm going to tell you when to start it, okay? Ready, set, go. So, what we're doing here is just squaring things up. Not anything more than that. Really, not anything more than that. Just taking things and putting them into square-ish piles. Just, let me start one more. And if you got some crazy stuff, and I'll do this later, you put them in a little box, something like that. I'll do that later. Put all my stuff like that over there. Here we go. Ooh, this is pretty square. Ready? Set. No, another one. This all is going to go in the box, in the box, in the box. I should have done in the box ready beforehand, but I didn't. That's life. Here we go. And you notice that there are things on the floor. You need to do that too. So let me go and get the things on.
Ooh, she's doing good.
Good enough. Good enough. Oh, just pretend. I can do it now, but you'll have to stay here. Okay. So, how long was that? A minute, 38 seconds. That's it. And for anybody, pretend that this is in the box. How does it look now? Less overwhelming, more manageable, better, right? Better is good. And the thing about it is it took a minute and 38 seconds. It didn't take long. And I've been doing this work. I do it, sometimes one-on-one with people in their homes, in their offices. And it actually is so that you can take like a home office space and square it up. That's all I did. I didn't read a thing. I didn't sort a thing, I just squared it up. An office takes about 5 minutes, that's it, period. And what you want to do is, you know, make sure that the books are straight on the bookshelf, that they're not about to fall off, that everything that was on the floor is pushed to the side so that you can actually get to your desk, you know? And that you've got these fairly structured piles, so, you know, sharp edges in a way, not too sharp, that's it. Ooh, this one, I want to put that over here. Okay, so this is the first step. This is the one on your sheet called squaring. Just squaring. It's not sorting, it's not getting rid of stuff, it's just squaring things up so that you can do the work more easily. That's what it is. Okay, so the next thing is to look at these piles, which are pretty random, and identify one that you're going to use for the next step. And this is what I call on the back, it says the power pile. It's like I'm looking at my piles here and I'm going, that one. And I suspect that there's something in this pile that if I don't deal with, it's gonna come back and bite me, you know? So this is the pile that I'm gonna use for my sample. Then I'm gonna take all the other ones and just square them up a little bit more, and then we'll go to the next step. So here we go. Yeah, these go. You're so good. She's great. Okay, these go sort of elsewhere. You know, not in the middle of your desk. Maybe on the side. Maybe on a credenza behind you. Maybe somewhere else. Who knows? I don't care much. It's just isolated random stuff. Now we start with this. This pile. This is the power pile. This is the one that we're going to sample. Second step is sampling, which if you have a pile of random stuff and you start to sort it, you will actually come out with probably anywhere from 60 to 80% of all the categories you're going to need, period, in the whole system in this random sample. So a small piece of work gets you lots and lots of oomph, lots, you know, a big return on investment here. So what we're going to do here, and by the way, sorting is something we all know how to do. All of us. One of these things is not like the other. You know, we learned it early. However, it's not so easy. So watch me try to sort. Here we go. Something to file. I can throw that away. I can throw this away too. Ooh, this is for warranties. I'm gonna keep that. And oh, what's this? I have a clear cue. It's when the glasses come off. Is all of a sudden I'm reading. Reading is not sorting. Remember that. So let's pretend I'm doing it again. I got the thing up over here, over there, and then I go, I don't know. It goes in the pile called I don't know, right? So that you don't have to change your level. Sorting happens on a gross level, present time. Here's another one. I'm going along. Got these, okay, more things to file. Oops, that's to throw away too. Ah, look at this. This is an invitation from Eileen. Wow, she's getting married next month in Phoenix. Let's go make a call. You see what happened? You see what, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Is that the associative brain kicks in and all of a sudden you're next month with Eileen in Phoenix getting married, you know, off topic. Sorting happens here and now, here and now. So when you find yourself going up, just stay. Dog command, stay, stay. No, stay. Okay. So this is invitation for next month to look at later, etc. So what we've got here actually is a number of really useful categories. And what I do with this is when somebody does the work, we say, okay, we're gonna do this for 10 minutes, that's it, period, 10 minutes, that's it. And it doesn't matter, if I put this over here, I'll get to it later, you know? And now I've got some really useful categories. I've got a bill to pay, I've got things to get rid of, I've got, God, I can't remember what this was, it was filing, and I don't know, and something coming up in the future. Oh, useful categories, really useful categories. These are the categories of your life, and everybody's is going to be different. Period. That's it. Different. Okay. So I think I'm done. Yeah, done with this. Good. So this is the first step. The second step. First the squaring, then the sorting into piles, which we do know how to do. And the reason why I was able to do it is because I knew I could stop. And I also knew that I didn't have to make decisions about everything, about whether I was going to throw it away or not. Not on the table, not on the table. So the next, I'm going to change this here. What we just did was like with like, put similar things together. We know how to do that. Then the next thing is an interesting one. It's designating places for this stuff to go. Either as it hangs out, as it makes its way through your system, or where it's stored. This is also not easy. This is also the staging part, that the skill that you see there under shaping skills, staging is the place where most systems break down. Has anybody ever heard the thing of only handle it once? Yeah, doesn't work anymore. Doesn't work at all. That actually was made up in the 50s when there was a lot less stuff to handle. And now think about it. Here it is, the beginning of the year. You know, you get the mail coming in and there's a solicitation for a contribution. And think, oh, they're good people. Only handle it once. I'll write a check. It's gone. The next day, more stuff comes in, and there's another charitable contribution request. It's like, oh, yeah, they're good people. Great, only handle it once. I'll write a check. It'll be gone. You know how this works then? By February 1st, all of your money for charitable contributions is gone. You can't get, so the thing is not to only handle it once, to let it build up, to let it sit there for a while. And I knew somebody who she paid all of her bills at the kitchen table. And they were sort of all over the place. And I said, you know, you really gotta have a staging area for your bills, staging area, place for them to hang out. And so what she did, because it was in the kitchen, was a napkin holder. Fit in with the decor, it was great. She could take it and put it underneath a cabinet in the back of the counter when she's not using it. She could pull it up, write her bills at the kitchen table if that's the way you do. So the deal about this is you actually need tools. You need things, you need areas for stuff to hang out. And I tell you, a pile is not it. You know what happens with a pile. You got a nice pile, there it is. You put something on top of it, you lost it. It's no longer accessible. The thing about staging is that they need to be accessible. And I brought with a couple of my favorite staging tools. This one is the Steel Master 4-slot vertical sorter. And this thing sits on on my desk at my down-hand side right there, and it's where things are parked when they're in progress. This is my pending projects parking place, my PPPP, this is it. And it goes in, stuff goes in and out, in and out. I stage like filing, all this stuff will go in something called filing. There it is. This one, which I have to do the reconciliation of the bill, will go here, which is closer to me. The deal is active or archive. Things that are active need to be closer physically to you. Things that are archival, filing, need to be farther away from you. The more archival it is, the less active it is, the further away, the more it's, hot and gotta do it, the closer it is to you. So that's just something that you can use. And if you don't want to have something that big, I tend to like these things too, which are magazine holders, which usually on a shelf go this way, but for me they go this way, because then I can stick things in and they go in and out and in and out and in and out. You can come and see these in the break. That's great, they work. All right, so you got a staging area, active and archive, and the other thing is move it along. Another one of the catchphrases for staging, like, I don't have anything here, but let's pretend that this is something that I want to give to my friend. So I put it actually on the way out the door because my friend is not here. They're out there. So I'm moving it along, I'm moving it in the direction. I may actually have, like here I got my filing, I may actually have, this is where a bin can come in handy, a bin on top of the file where I stage my filing. Another possible filing staging area is inside the drawer in the front, an empty hanging folder where you can just throw things. At least it's on the way, it's moving along, which is what you need to do. So for each one of your piles of stuff, you need a staging area or a storage area. And that's all you need at this point, period. You can close it down now. You can end. You've got your couple of your staging areas, and then as stuff comes into the system, you've got a place to put it. The thing about, we've all had the experience of, okay, I'm gonna do those papers, and you get them all lined up on the dining room table, all in the piles, they look great, you've done the work, and then your spouse calls and says, we're having somebody for dinner, and then you take them all and you put them back in here, and you stick them in the closet, and it's as if you didn't do a thing, but you did. You did. You did the sort. You got some good ideas about where to put this stuff, but you lost it all because you didn't have staging areas. You didn't have convenient, easy places to put stuff. So this is why staging is the weak link in the chain, really weak link in the chain. So that's as far as we're going to go before the break. And what I would like you to do right now is go to your back page, take a minute, write down any good ideas that you got from this part, and then we'll have it open to questions for the next couple of minutes. So let's have a good idea, we'll get two good ideas, a good idea from someone who has not offered one before. Anybody? Yep.
So I was thinking about your dining room table, and I led into that when I'm organizing the files of paper in my office. So my solution, if I can't finish, is to use those big clips and at least keep each pile with each pile.
Hang on, I'm having trouble here. This is our alarm, by the way, for the end. Yeah. Paul, again.
So when I'm using big paper clips to keep my sorted piles together until I can take them to the next step.
Exactly. Perfect idea. Great. Wrong thing. Come on. Stopwatch alarm. It's alarm. Stop. Dismiss. Oh, wrong. I don't know how to do this. Why is this happening? Delete. Come on.
Pick it up.
One more good idea. One more good idea. Yeah, Barbara.
I use yellow stickies where I want the compile to tell me where I left off and what's next.
Excellent, excellent. That's more that we'll talk about again a little bit later on. Good, so, if we're at our break time, and rather than taking questions in the big group, let's just take a break and you can engage me, and we've got a break. And how long is the break? Kendall? 8.5 minutes. So I'm gonna set a timer so that we'll have time to close down. And I want to talk about the close down a little bit more when we come back from our break. So I'm gonna set the timer. This time I'm gonna learn how to do it for 5 minutes. Okay, we'll see you in 8.5 minutes, but take a break, and when the timer goes off, it means you still have 3.5 minutes. All right.
You too. How we doing?
Barbara, say hello to Dory. She's,
Oh, goody. Okay, bring that, you bring it. Bring it up the next week. Okay, okay, good. You bring it. Okay, I'll bring it. You bring that. Okay, here we go.
yeah,
How's it going down there?
it's gone pretty good. Dory's been on. She's been watching from her home in bed.
Wonderful.
She has what I
It's okay.
By the way, books are for sale. For you to open them.
I have a running list of chapters.
I forgot to get them checked. Shall I just, would Jim be the person to send it to? Okay, so I'll just tell her.
she's got a weird membership.
Now,
Yeah. Great. Okay.
So one of the ones I wanted to think about, I did see charity. Charity. Okay. It seems like instead of the charities,
Say it takes 6 touches.
come back.
That's not big enough to figure out. Dory's there. She was watching. She can't see you because it's from her stuff. I got you.
So, I feel like this is the place you live.
So,
But, so sometimes I think when I do more money to how to growth.
And I would say I get something not why they send me so much crap. Because I talk to them. But I'm a I'm really worried. Seven, if you have diabetes, I want you to have 7. It's a great program.
Yeah, you and me both. I didn't bring a checkbook.
Uh-huh. See if you got it.
Does a 20 work?
A 20 would work. Let me see if I can. Because you could get it for $15. Let me see about
You are a fantastic presenter.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Do you have any more notes? Ask him. He's got
I'll give you today, but I'll give you that's what I'll give you a couple of slides. They have it.
Folks, we're actually going to get started again. Please come back. Please.
All right. So,
The thing about this, folks, is that we could go on forever, right? You know, this break,
Pam, just before you get going,
Before I get going.
um, while you guys are just running back to the table before Pam begins again in 1 second, I just wanted to, I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll see if, Dory, are you there? I'm hoping you're still there. Dory is watching from her home in bed where she's sick, so everyone can wave hi to Dory and wish her to get better quickly. So, so Dory said it's all working great and she's enjoying watching this from her home in bed. So there you go.
Excellent, excellent. So the deal about this is that, you know, break could have gone on forever. Could have gone on, if we let it go, could have gone on easily for another 10 minutes. And remember that thing about the unlimitedness and the limitedness, that's what we do, is that we manage that fact of head in the clouds and feet on the ground. So here we are, and we're going to be stopping at noon, right? Right. It's 11:20 right now, so we've got to make some decisions about what to do and when to do it. One of the things that I would like, and I'm going to stay after, by the way, so if you want to chat with me. Oh, there's something that I want to make sure that you all know, is I'm going to contact somebody, Barbara or Kendall or somebody, for your email addresses, which is not to get on the list, by the way. It is to offer you a 15-minute phone consultation 2 weeks from now. Right. So what I encourage you to do is try some of this stuff out. Just try it out, see how it goes. And then in 2 weeks, you get an email from me saying, so how's it going? You know, I'm very invested in people actually trying to make some change. And the best way to do that is to, you know, give you an opening for that change to happen and then see how it goes. So we all know that, you know, some things go well, some things don't. You get a good idea, you get another good idea. You know, that's just the way it goes. So there we have it. I would like to, you know, and I know the spiritual is really important to you, and I just want to point out a couple of things that are in the book. There's this thing that happens all the time. People say, well, I know what to do, I just don't do it. And that is actually a very powerful spot, to be in. This is in the chapter called From Knowing to Doing, and it says this contradiction evokes feelings, and the feelings evoke awareness. Whenever you have a feeling coming up, you go, whoa, something is going on here. So that's the moment to pay attention, to start going, okay, there we are. Anybody know Jacob Needleman's work? I really love his stuff. Yeah, Time and the Soul, and Money and the Meaning of Life, and all of that kind of stuff. And he says in one of his books, I can't remember exactly which one, that knowing what to do yet not doing it has value. In the midst of the contradiction, we approach the gateway to consciousness of our true nature, where we stand in the opposition between the inner movement towards the deep self and the outer movement towards the external world. Remember that inner and outer kind of stuff. That's where you are when you're organizing. That's where you are when you're dealing with your stuff. So it's no surprise that you go, oh, I think I'll do this later. You know, part of the deal is being able to bear it, being able to stand in it. It's uncomfortable. That's all there is to it. It is uncomfortable. And being able to bear that, to stand it, and to see what it has to offer is exactly what this work is about. That's what this work is about. So we're gonna move on a little bit. I do want to have a little time. We're gonna do an exercise. Who brought stuff, by the way? Who brought stuff? Ooh, we got lots of stuff. Wonderful. And some people didn't bring stuff, and that's good too, because you could be witnesses to the people who haven't, you know, and see how this goes. So this is going to be an exercise. Yes, May.
I just want to know what he says about doing papers or objects or
Both. Yeah, papers, objects, doesn't matter. Stuff is stuff. Yeah. Okay, great. So I'm going to do, oh, Meg, I'm going to need you again. I'm going to do another little demo, and then we're going to do it. Wow, can you believe it? And you know how this works. You got all this stuff. You know you're going to be getting rid of some of it. You know this, right? This is a skill I call shedding. There's a whole chapter in the book. There's a piece on it in the one-page handout. So, Meg, pretend that these are videos, a whole bunch of them. I've got a shelf for videos. It's this long. I want more. By the way, this was before Netflix that I did this. And I want more, and I don't have any room for it. We all know this with other stuff. So I suspect that there are videos on this shelf that I could possibly get rid of. Watch me try to get rid of videos. Oh, this one. This one is Alec Guinness. I love Alec Guinness. This stays. Oh, and this one. This is interesting. My cousin gave me this. This looks really good. Yeah, that stays. Oh, and this one. Black Beauty. I gotta give that to my niece. That stays. And this one, what really is this? I'm not quite sure. I had to figure that out. That stays. Folks, anybody can make a case for keeping anything, period, anything. Here's the big one. Oh, I might need it someday. You know, yes, maybe, no. Okay, so the deal about this is to, and now I can hold this for at least a minute, stay close. The deal about this is to let the cream rise to the top. Let the things that you really love and want reveal themselves to you. And the way that I do this, and we're going to do it, so watch carefully, is take 6 items from your I want to get rid of this pile, whatever it is, and then sort them. There's a reason for 6, because brain research has been done that the mind can keep 6 things separate. More than that, and it just goes to mush. You know, you can't discriminate. So here we are with 6 things, and what you do is you sort them one by one. Here's my 6. And I go, oh, Alec Guinness. I really like Alec Guinness. That stays. And what this tells me is that if the Lady Killers comes up in this, I'm going to keep it because I collect Alec Guinness. So there's that one. And this one, this is morphing, by the way. This one my cousin gave me, her taste, not mine. I get rid of that. And then this one, the Black Beauty, I go, and this one that I don't know, not quite sure. And this one, oh, wow. Here is the Lady Killers, that stays. And this one, I have no idea why I have this. That goes. I'm done. Thank you. I thought I was going to need you, but I didn't. So what it comes out with is you get 3 piles. You get the no's, the yeses, and the maybes. And you know how it works. And there it is right in front of you. It's 20% yeses, 20% no's, 60% maybes, 60%, most of them are the maybes. So here's what you do, here's the next step. Is you get rid of the nose, like now. You move it along, you move it to your car, you move it to the door, you get rid of it, gone, gone, gone. And as you do this, you will find more places to accept your stuff, you know, the library or the senior center or the big sisters, big brothers, whatever, but you get rid of it now, like now. And then the yeses. The yeses, clear yeses are the only ones that go back on the shelf, period. That's it. Just the yeses. Because these are the things that this is the cream. This is the stuff that you know you want. You know you want it. So that goes back. Then the maybes. What do you do with the maybes? Well, what I do is I put them in what I call rough storage, which may be a bag, a Trader Joe's bag or something. They don't do bags anymore, right? You put them in something and you put them elsewhere. Remember elsewhere? You put them elsewhere, like in the back bedroom or in the garage or the basement if it's, you know, not moldy and all of that. You put them out of your sight so that for that snowy Sunday coming up in January, you go, I should go through that and see if there are any videos there that I want to look at. You know, so you've isolated them. They're no longer in your, you know, in your purview. They're not in front of you. And now you get a better sense of what I want and what I don't want. You know, you've just done that through, this is what I call the shedding criteria. What allowed me to say yes to this, which was Albert Guinness and maybe it was, you know, Rick Steve's video to the Czech Republic. Yes, I want to keep that. And you also write down the criteria for what allowed me to get rid of this stuff, which is, in this case, someone else's taste, not mine. A couple of other shedding criteria are, these are the monthly statements, and now that I have the quarterly consolidated, I can get rid of all the monthlies for the end of the years. Or, this is version 1.1.3. And now we have version 1.1.4. So it's time to get rid of the old stuff. And what I would do is actually write this down. Write down, like in the back of your calendar or something like that, the criteria that you use to get rid of stuff. Because you're going to need it later when you get to the rest of the stuff that's hanging around the house. And I tell you, this is the truth, is it gets easier. The clearer your criteria, the easier it is. All right, folks, clear your tables. Just push everything, you know, square, give yourself some room. One person per table at the moment. We may not be able to do more than one, so choose carefully who wants to do the shed here. And what you're going to do is you're going to come out with 3 tiles. The people around you, oh, crash bang. The people around you who are witnessing you and sort of keep, you know, who's done sorting with somebody else there? Just as a witness. Yeah, just as a witness. And it really helps to have somebody there. So what I would also encourage you to do is at your tables decide who's going to do the shedding. And next thing is stand. Stand when you're ready. When you got your stuff, and I would take your stuff. Do you have stuff? Put it on the table in a pile. Okay. If you have stuff, put it on the table in a nice little square pile. And when you are ready to sort, stand up. Standing is good because it focuses you. This is great. Lucy's ready to go. She's got her stuff. Let's see who else we have here. Okay, I'm moving around. We're having challenges. Okay, get your stuff out. And the other thing to do is just one per table. You got it? You don't know this. You don't know good stuff to keep yet. Just a random sample, and if you have a huge bag like Kendall has, just take a small sample, maybe about an inch. That's it. You got it. Clear some space. Clear some space.
What is it?
Are you there?
I don't care. This is
Don't start yet. Wait. Don't start yet. Okay? Wait. Okay. Folks, gentlemen, ladies, we're going to start our sorters in a minute, and the way it works is you clear your hand, your dominant hand, but that hand that you're going to use to pick it up and put it down. You have nobody to help you?
No, I don't.
Somebody, we need a witness. Witness, there, she'll witness. Okay, great. Be sure to clear your hand, the hand that you're going to pick things up with. Allow yourself some space. The observers who are next to you, make sure that they are not holding other papers in their hands. Let me show you what happens. You're going through and you're going, yeah, I know where that is, and that's one of those, and then there's this, and then what's that? That thing that you picked up that you didn't put down. You know, so make sure that you put, you know, you make some kind of decision, and the decision may be, I don't know what to do with this, that's a maybe. The clear yes, clear no, you're good. If it isn't, it's a maybe, it's in the middle. So are we ready? And the observers are the ones that need to keep you to task. Observers do not engage them in conversation. Don't say, oh, look at that, I like that too, shall I? Are you gonna throw that away? I'll take it. No. And we have a question from the floor, and we'll have another couple of questions, yes?
So, my pile, I was made sure to include things where I don't know how long I need to keep something.
Right, that's a maybe.
Okay.
That's a maybe. Okay, are we ready? Ready to go? There's no observer. Come on. Yeah, but she's not quite. All right. Are we getting ready? Remember, don't pick up more than one piece of paper at a time. And you're only going to end up with 3 piles. That's it. Yes, no, and maybe. Period. Are we ready? Go.
And we're not sorting, right? We're just yes, no. Yes, no. Yes. But I don't need this. Maybe. Yeah, it is. I think everything's maybe. Well, which I think people want to do. So I got this as a representative. The Home Depot bill, so it's amazing, right? Maybe from 2014, they screwed up. So even if something went wrong, but so they did go wrong, I never told them about it. Oh, 4 years ago. Yes. I think a lot of these things, I think, this is just kind of Vanguard. This is what I'm using. Sometimes what I do is I do out the back page. One of my copies. Tear off this.
Folks, you have 30 seconds left.
read and then, okay?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop, 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 stop. Wherever you are, stop. It is very easy to say, oh, I've only got 2 more. Let's keep going. Well, folks, there's more where that came from. So you may as well stop now. And this is the thing about stopping, just disengaging from it. Take the papers that you didn't finish, put them back in whatever you had to bring them. We're going to have it so that there's a trash can in the back. You don't have to go now. We're on the clock, by the way. We got to get through this. That you can actually get rid of them. And I would paper clip or post-it, and I've got a few paper clips and post-its up here, your yeses. Okay, can we have attention up here? Because we're on the verge here. I'm seeing what time it is. It is 11:40. We have 20 minutes. We're going to need to take 5 minutes to close this down. So, folks, you can sit. Yay, good work, good work. Part of the deal with this, right now, is to give yourself a pat on the back for what you did. It's like, wow, I got into this stuff. I got into the detail. This is pretty amazing. And my guess is that most of you came up with a few workable categories. Let's hear from somebody on this side of the room. What is a workable category in your yeses? Yes.
I got sick of pretending I was really going to do something with it.
What now?
I got sick of pretending to myself that I cared about this thing.
Oh, good, 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 good. What? She got sick of pretending that she really cared about this stuff. Get that. Now, another thing that I asked is, in the process of discovering your yeses, you probably identified some categories of stuff that you didn't know you had. Anybody got one of those? Yes. In fact.
I'm interested in what medicine is doing, so I have National Geographic about the future of medicine. I have compassion and choice on loss and death and resilience.
Okay, and your name is? Karen. So Karen has a new category, which is interesting stuff about medicine, right? Or death and death, right, because that's your thing. Now, folks, here's something that most of you probably sort of, if there were some things that came up that are things to do, right? Calls to make, things to file, et cetera, things to do. There's, just like Karen got, there's a whole bunch of stuff that are resources. It's your library. It's your internal library. And this may be extensive. As long as it's a yes, what you need to do now is set up a library. That's what you need to do. You need to have a place for this stuff to go, so that when the next thing comes in, you go, oh, that's an item for the library. And it goes on the shelf behind you or wherever you have set up your resource library. This thing about staging and storing, getting places for stuff to live. Any other questions? Yeah.
So following along that idea, I put those things in a maybe category. I didn't know whether I wanted, they were of interest, I haven't had a chance to read them. So.
Yeah, and
When
I
my
would,
maybe pile gets.
right, I'm looking for your name, Mary Ellen. Yeah, okay, this is something, the maybe pile can get ridiculously large. And what I would do is a second level sort. Remember what we did in sorting categories is sort the maybe. Sort the maybes into what I just heard you say was something I would like to read and make a decision. The decision is active. Remember active in archive? It's not ready to go to archive yet. It's not ready to go to the library yet. So you've got to, and I would put all of those things together, and I think you notice this, Karen, that when you have all of those kinds of things together, it's much easier to make a decision. You know, part of the deal, especially as we get older, I remember when I looked at my cross-country skis before the knee replacement. And I said, I don't think I'm ever going to do that again. And if I do, I'm going to rent and they're going to be new. You know? So this is the time when you start to look at some of those maybes. Oh, I might need that someday. Oh, I would like to do that. Perhaps. This is the spiritual thing, and I would not force it. You know, I had those cross-country skis in my basement for years, not using them. And it was one year that I said, that's it.
But they look good.
Oh, yeah. Well, if they look good, bring them into your view. Don't have them be in the basement. You know, there it is. It's like, okay, crossed skis in the living room, above in the great room, or whatever, however you want to do it. Let me take one more. The thing about this is the whole deal about the reason for the maybe pile is to not force the decision. To be clear on what's a yes and clear on what's a no. And let the rest take its shape little by little. We're cruising on to the end. There's so much more I'd like to offer you. We'll have a few minutes now, right now, for comments and questions. And Paula's in the queue.
So I have long had a folder in which I put travel wishes articles.
Yeah.
The problem is that I know this, is that when I'm thinking about taking a trip, I forget to go to that folder and look what's there.
Yeah. Bad job. You know, that's the thing, is you gotta use your system, you know, if you've done it, you gotta use it, and the simpler it is, the better it is. So, you know, when you put the travel brochure in the travel folder in the file cabinet, look at your hand, say, I am putting a travel brochure in my travel folder, in that file cabinet. You know, it's awareness, and you'll start to use it. By the way, in my pending projects parking place, remember that? I have a folder called Perhaps. That's what it's called. And that's where I put in everything that I think, I might do that someday. And when I go to it is when I'm holding on a phone queue with Verizon that will probably last the next 27 minutes. And I pull it out and I say, I wonder what's in Perhaps. And usually I just grab on a handful of the stuff and I go, well, that's never going to happen. And I throw away some things and then other things I put back in. You know, so it's at least it's a place to park it so that it's not in your active area. Good. And Barbara came up to me in the break and said something. So Barbara, tell people the thing that stuck with you.
I've taken several courses with Pam, and she's been in my head for years. She travels with me around my house. And one of her wonderful lines was, it's all elementary, which means keep things moving like you would with your intestinal system. For those of you who are saying, what is she talking about? And so, you know, when you have that piece of paper, go stage it. You know, so when something has to go up the steps, I put it on the steps. When it's going out the house, I put it near the door. So it's all elementary. Thank you.
Elementary, just you take it in, you process it, you get rid of it, or move it on, and you know what happens if that doesn't work. Right. Okay, we have time for 2 more questions, comments. Let's hear it. Kendall.
What do you do about the toxic stuff? The relationships, the journal entries that bring you back to, you know, the things that you don't want to
we all know that there are useful things to think about and remember that are toxic and horrible. You know, because part of the challenge of, especially becoming older, is to open up, widen up your boundary, make it larger, so that you can actually stand the fact that you were there when this toxic thing happened. You know? That said, you may decide, out of here, I'm not doing that ever again, I'm not thinking about that person, I had a friend. What we ended up doing was we took our old journals, which for me was a lot of yada, yada, ran, and we went out to a state park, and we built a fire, and we burned them. And I can tell you, you can't just take a journal and put it on the fire, it puts it out. So you have to rip it apart, you know, crumble it up, put it on, you know, sort of like, and it took 3 hours. And it was a good thing that it took that long. Meg's in the queue, and then we'll get Lisa's.
This is just a recommendation quickly, if nobody's ever been to see on your computer, Annie Leonard's The Story of Stuff.
The Story of Stuff. Annie Leonard's The Story of Stuff. Take a look at it, it's really good, and we got Lisa, and that's our last comment, and then we have a close down, so Lisa.
So I have two big categories that cause me problems.
Yeah.
One is things that my kids might want,
Ooh, the kids, things my kids might want, yes?
and the other is things that have some value to them.
Yeah,
I don't
value.
wanna just
eBay, you know, right, okay, let me just do some intervention on that one. The things the kids might want, what you need to do is you gotta sequester them from the rest of the stuff. And then as they grow older, it's oftentimes at holiday time where you let your almost grown up or your grown up children know it's gonna be time for you to take a look at that stuff. Because if you don't keep it, it may go by New Year's. So you put a moratorium on it and you have them do it. And the other thing about that, folks, is that parents have right of last refusal, first refusal, so that if, you know, they don't want it and you do, you get to keep it. And what I would do is I would store it in something wonderful, you know, a trunk, a art portfolio, whatever it is, so that you honor it. That's one thing. Now, the thing about stuff that may be valuable, oh God, all the research that you would have to do to find out how valuable that is. Well, there are people who may do that for you for a cut of the tank. So I would do that. I would just, you know, put up a sign somewhere at the local high school or community college or something like that and say, let's do this. Okay, we are closed down now. We're the morning has ended. Okay. Before we go, take your handouts, turn them over, satisfaction practice, good ideas. Catch the good idea that you want to take with you, the big one. And it doesn't have to be big, it could be very small. Don't worry about it. And we'll take 1 minute. Okay, folks, we've got, for this exercise, half a minute left. Okay, that's it. Now, I just found out, just now, from Kendall, that we actually have it till 12:25 rather than 12 noon. And John, I saw the thing written up. Oops, there we go. I'll do that. So, let's get some more good ideas up here, and then we'll have open season for any of your issues. Okay, great. So let's get it up. I think before we go to putting good ideas up, find someone to talk to next to you and share your good idea. Because you've got some good ideas and they may be done.
I did it myself. Yeah, that would work. Yeah, getting rid of things that belong to family members. My mother's died. 19 something years. My parents traveled. So that's something. But I know, but it's been on the shelf in my desk in the fire. You don't like it. This might be museum. It is beautiful. You should have some. This is yes. I have one. Now, in my life, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to lovely little white gloves in there. And I think I've had these beautiful gloves. I have several of them. Right, and they get a line on the side.
Okay,
And
let's close this down, get a couple of good ideas, and then we still have time, which is pretty amazing. Okay, let's have a good idea from this side over here. Anybody got a good idea that hasn't offered one? Yeah, no, yeah.
One of the files I pull out when I'm on Verizon is one that I started in the early 80s. Wonderful stuff. Sometimes I just like something, it's a postcard, and I don't need it, and I don't want it up all the time, but it's too great to just pitch. So it's in a wonderful stuff folder, and sometimes I just look at that while I'm online. When I'm on hold, and it just it shouldn't all be downbeat stuff in your folder or practical stuff. I think it's nice to have something, and then you might realize, well, I don't think that's so wonderful anymore, or gosh, that's cool, and it's just an up point in the day.
Right, so what's your name again? Carolyn. Carolyn has a wonderful stuff folder. So it's just a place to park that stuff. You know, the deal about this is to put it in an appropriate place. And you've got it a little bit out of the way, not in your face all the time. You know how it is. You know, the 6th rule applies to your physical space. They say that one cannot have more than 6 Post-its on your computer monitor, because then you stop seeing them all. You know, it's not standing out. So to be able to sequester and have it be a thing that you check in with every Good, wonderful. Let me try over here and then I'll catch you. Anybody here? Yeah.
I just remembered that 5 or 6 years ago, a friend and I became declutter buddies, and we would go to each other's houses and talk it through and ask the right questions, and it was really helpful. I haven't done it since, but I will try that again because it was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And inexpensive.
Yes.
Free.
Free. And what's your name again? Kid. Yeah, Kid has a declutter buddy. Not active for a little while, but is ready to get going on it again. And I would really encourage you to do that, really. And it's sort of just like we did in the sorting exercise and the shedding exercise, is it can be useful for you not to engage them in conversation about stuff. You know, to just say, okay, yes, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe. And then when you're done with the session, then talk about why you kept what you did, why you're letting go what you letting go. And also, you know, those maybe bags full of stuff really start to shape up after a while. You know, it's like, yeah, I really don't. Okay, you had a good idea?
My good idea is a feeling. I found everything you said to be magnificently practical, that is not so complicated that I think I can actually do it. But I wrote down that it's really not so horrible or daunting, that you really helped me get rid of the fear of approaching this whole process.
Right. So, and what?
Joanne.
Yeah, Joanne was talking about, just talking about this in company for a little while has helped to dissipate the fear. And let me go back to the ending skill. It's the one that's in your handouts called ending, or in the other handout it's called stopping. And this is the key. Remember we said that one of the reasons why we don't start is because we're afraid we're going to get sucked into it for a long time, and that's the fear. Hey man, I want to do something else besides this organizing. So the deal about it is to really put a good boundary around your organizing. And let me put something up here. It's sort of in your handouts, but not as good as I would like. The first thing is to put your organizing in a basket. Put your thinking about organizing and your practice of organizing, contain it. And this is the thing that we were talking about, like when we were talking about squaring and sampling and all of that, is set a time limit. You need a limit. Time limit. You know, oftentimes we say, I can't, you know, like here it is, 11 o'clock, and I've got to go somewhere at 1. I can't possibly start this because I don't have enough time to do it. Well, no, you don't have enough time to do it all. However, you do have enough time, even if it's 10 minutes, to start, to do something. So let's pretend you say, okay, I'm going to do this for 20 minutes. Time limit, 20 minutes. Set the timer, not for 20 minutes. Set the timer for maybe 16 minutes. So set your timer, allow yourself time to close it down. And I've been using that language all the way around. The close down is the key. Being able to get into it and then being able to get out of it. And there are 3 steps to the close down. Let me line these out for you. First relates to the past, then to the future, and then to the present. Let me explain this a little bit more. You could come up and take a picture of this later. The past is the immediate past. What just happened in that 16 minutes? And what you do, and this is crucial, is you need to give yourself a pat on the back for what you actually did. You go like, whoa, man, I got through that much of my miscellaneous papers. And not only that, I came out with 4 legitimate useful categories. And, I think, one of those I can do right now. Pat on the back, pat on the back, pat on the back, because what happens often is that we don't give ourselves the pat on the back until the whole job is done. Folks, not enough, not anywhere near enough. Every time you put in some work, something happens. And it's up to you to recognize what happens. By the way, we've done this 3 times already. It's the satisfaction practice. It's feeling good about a job that's not finished. If you only wait till the finish, you're not going to get a lot of satisfaction. You got to get practice with being satisfied with a job not finished. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is identify the next step, which Barbara was saying she uses a Post-it. I use Post-its a lot. I say, and the Post-it says, start here, so that you know where to start, where to pick it up again. And like if I have a big pile of papers to sort, I put something very brilliantly colored wrong way in the pile, so I know exactly where to start the next time I do it. We've all had the situation of, leaving the big project midway, and you go like, where was I, where do I start now? So identify that clearly. That's the future. Identify the very next step. And then the last thing is settle down the present, which is take all the stuff that perhaps you've sorted into piles and move it along to its staging area, get rid of all the stuff that you've decided, no, I'm not going to have that anymore. Actually get rid of it. Move other things along to like a chair by the door for things that are going out the door. Settle down the present and then take all those piles that you haven't even touched and move them to the side. Square them up, move them to the side. Put the next step, trigger, Post-it on it, and that's it. You're done. You're done for the day. 20 minutes. And I got some new categories. I got down that much. But this is the way it happens. So you have to take it slowly and consciously. That's it. How's that sit? I would encourage you to try this. This works. This really works. It's the antidote to the all or nothing at all, which I call binge and purge. Where you just do it. You say, oh man, I'm going to do this. And you do it until you're exhausted and feel horrible. And the place might look good for maybe 3 days. And then it all starts to build up again. And what you're teaching yourself in that situation is that organizing is exhausting and that it doesn't last. So what you need to do is teach yourself something else, which is organizing is energizing. It's like, wow, I made some headway here. This is really good. And I feel ready to go. And once you've identified a couple of staging areas, you start to use them and things start to shift. So I would go for that. Okay, we still got some time here. Wow, we got a fair amount of time. Next question, please, especially from someone who hasn't asked for it so far. Or from somebody who has. Yes.
What do you do with all the stuff that you inherited from parents that was given to you as a possession to keep and be loyal to?
Bruce, right, is asking about all the stuff that you inherited. And that there is this sort of, you're supposed to be loyal to it. You're supposed to cherish the family tradition. You're supposed to do all this kind of stuff. There's a couple of things that I think about that. Number one is to store it well out of your immediate environment so that you can operate easily and not have it be in the way. It may be something to go through bin by bin, chunk by chunk, especially on a snowy Sunday in February or something like that. The other thing is if you have siblings or other people who are interested in it in some way or another, have some kind of investment in it. Again, like the thing for the children is like a moratorium. This is it. If you don't take this, it's gonna go. So I would get that in. The other thing about especially stuff like photos, dear me, photos, don't expect to put them in albums, ever. Ever. It would be nice, and you might have a relative who likes that kind of stuff. Hand it to them and say, would you like to look through this stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And they might go, yes. And again, they might go, no. In which case you'll put them in shoeboxes and stick them up on the highest shelf of your closet. Put new shelves in your closet, way the hell up there. And what I would do when something is going to distant storage like that is write down the date that you put it in distant storage, 2-sentence, 1, maybe 5-word description of what's in there, and then in your active, and I actually have this in my handy hand drawer, in my desk, in the front, I have, it's like a file folder cut in half that says key to the distant archive. And it shows what is where and when it was put there. So that you don't have to think, oh, do I have it? You don't have to keep it in your head. The head is not a good place to keep things like that. So write it down and it's there and ready for you. The other thing that I have done a lot is take pictures of things, and rather than keep the thing itself. And if you have a whole, in the old days when you had 5 pictures of the same people at the beach, pick the best one, get rid of the others. That's one way to do it. Okay, anything else? Yes.
It's so easy to look up the value of things online. For many people, unless it's really people out there. But just the other day, I got a couple of Nancy Drew books, and I was like, I Googled what's the value of Nancy Drew books, and then I had to say, well, is it worth my time to try and sell one Nancy Drew book for $5? Nope, it's not. It's going to recycle.
Right. Exactly.
Or to a used bookstore or whatever. But there's so many things you can get in the immediate sense.
Right. And your name again? Dawn.
What the value is.
Right. Dawn is saying, if you didn't hear that, is if you're wondering what the value is, you may be sitting on something very valuable, is do a little research and then make the decision. And again, you can involve somebody else to take the cut. Even at the time that you spend doing the research, just make a box. This stuff. Yeah, Meg.
I just wanted to comment that I think most kids don't want your things. And it's a little hard because I've noticed in myself that I care more about family lineage and history as I'm older. And, too bad if at this age they don't want it. But in general, I think it's what I'm planning to do is take photographs of a lot of the things in our house and say, if you want any of this, say it, and I'll save it, and otherwise, I'm sorry,
Right.
giving away things.
Right. And for the people who are online here, Meg says that she's sort of sad that the next generation may not be interested in your stuff. And so if you are interested in your stuff, you want to have the long family history there, of family, right, yeah. Then you keep it, and you keep it in one of those bins that says long family history, and you put it in your distant archive and just move it on out. And I like also the thing of the moratorium on the stuff that, okay, if you want this stuff, you gotta stop. Okay, and we got people who have asked questions before, and I want to just do a little bit, just a little bit of reading of a bit.
While you're looking, I just say the woman who's here, but bins, if you sorted and want to recycle,
Ah,
you can leave your recycling there.
oh, excellent, excellent. Wow, that's really great. So when we're done, that would be a good thing. Okay, this thing about getting organized, one of the big reasons to do it is, and I'll quote here, when we're disorganized, our cluttered, chaotic surroundings are out of sync with our desire for a rich spiritual life or our urge to exert influence in the world. What we're trying to do in the world seems to have little effect. Like the wave coming into shore that's canceled out by the wave behind it, whose pattern and trough is out of sync. As we get organized, our inner and outer environments begin to relate harmoniously, like wave patterns that reinforce each other. So with the inner and the outer in resonant relationship, power is born. We make decisions, we move forward, we change, we ring like a bell. So when you're getting rid of stuff, it's more like a refining process. You get clearer and clearer and clearer. And what you do has more impact. Think about that. Good. Kendall.
Can you apply this to decision-making process? Thinking about moving or changing location or changing work or anything to draw from?
Well, I always find that when somebody asks a question, because they've got a good idea. So, well, how does this relate for you to this decision-making change process?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with authenticity and what is that, what resonates most for me, and sometimes I have an idea of what resonates, but it's the object or the tangible reflection of it, the photograph of it, whatever it helps. That it's using more by the senses.
Exactly. A lot of times decision-making could be a very heady thing. We make out a list of pros and the cons and the thises and the that's of a decision. And when you're actually hands-on with your stuff, it's more of a visceral feeling. It comes from a deeper place, from not necessarily deeper, but more nuanced, bigger place than just thinking. So what I would do is, while you are doing your sorting, while you're doing your shedding, is get more of that dimension of what does this evoke for me, and it may help you in your decision making. I find it was great. I had a situation where I moved from a huge Dorchester apartment, 2 floors, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plenty of space for me and my stuff. And I moved into a studio apartment in Jamaica Plain. It ended up that I had a yard sale before I moved, and I also had a yard sale after I moved because I just couldn't fit it all in. But it was an interesting thing. And one neat thing is in both places, I had a fireplace, and so I had a session with the fire before I moved from Dorchester, and I had boxes full of notes from college. And when I thought I moved these, and it was upstairs to go to the new place. It was right ground floor on the first place, but I had to go up many stairs. And I looked into the box and I saw notebooks full from professors I really didn't like. And I went, I'm not going to keep any of these. He was a real son of a gun. So into the fire, gone, into the fire. And the other thing was that I also had a box full of mementos, full of cards. every single birthday and Christmas card that I had in my adult life was in that box. I have very few family members, so this was, representative of my family, of my friends who were my family. And again, it was a different session, but it was a fire. And I looked and I said, wow, that was a great card, Amanda. Thank you so much. Into the fire, gone. Ritually, to do it ritually, it could really help. Good, Paul is our last
I
comment.
have a comment for you. So one of the things I do with cards is I look at them for the potential to be bookmarks.
Oh, yeah.
And I find that it's visually nice, and sometimes I'll write on it who it came from, and I'll just make really interesting bookmarks out of greeting cards. So it's saving a piece of it,
Yes.
not the whole thing.
Yes.
It's something I can use.
Right, and consider that with everything. I had a friend who, she was very much a clothes horse, very, very much liked her snazzy little outfits. And the move to Maine, down east, what she ended up doing was she deconstructed her fancy New York Manhattan clothes and made quilts for herself because she needed them up there. She didn't need them down there. So, this whole kind of thing of organism brings forth your creativity. So remember that. It's a good. Now, before we go, how much time do we have? We have 4 minutes according to my clock. Okay, so let's go around and say the one thing that you think you might actually be able to do next week about this organizing thing in 4 words or less.
Well, I'm putting my recipes in one of those file folders
Got it.
until I can get them to the next place.
Yes, okay, 4 words, Mary.
I'm going to use your technique of naming the pile and establishing a criteria.
Good.
I'm going to try, I am not try, I am going to attack my coursework that I have for teaching that's amiss.
Good, and I've not used the word attack. Sure. Good, and in the back.
This is the way that keep files.
Yeah, good. Okay.
I like the title, but perhaps over.
The perhaps folder, yes, good.
Clear, no, clear, yes.
Clear, no, clear, yes, good.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Clear, no, clear, yes, Meg.
Can't do anything in 2 weeks.
Ah,
California, too bad.
okay, 2, yep, sounds fine, good. Come on, little by little, start with the square, square it out, yeah.
This is current medical information.
Uh-huh.
I started 20 years ago.
Ah.
I'm gonna go through it and really see what.
Yeah, good. Go through the current folder, make sure it's current. Yep. Staging areas, big deal, folks, great.
I'm gonna use yes, no, maybe with a huge box of CDs and sitting in a box.
Right, and just do it handful at a time. Don't do it all at once. So what I would do is take the handful and take it somewhere else, like on a separate table. And then when you're done with that, go get another one. Yeah. Wait. Yes. She said to do the yes, no, maybe for her CDs. Yeah.
Pick a starting place.
Pick a starting place. Excellent.
Build a fire.
Build a fire. Yay. Here we go. Start this Sunday. That's only 3 words. That's really good.
I'm gonna set aside 10 minutes today to go through papers.
Yeah, and folks, when I hear somebody say 10 minutes a day, make sure you give yourself some breaks. So I would say maybe 10 minutes a day for 5 days out of the week. Okay, so 2 days off.
I want to sort through 1 box of photos.
1 box. That's it. 1.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. That's exactly it. And remember, that's the way change actually happens. Take little steps. Continue to take the steps, the little steps. If you make a little course correction, and I'm talking little, and you follow it out, you're going to end up in a very different place than where you started out. So that's what I'm leaving with you. I'll be here selling books, all that kind of stuff
Thank you for your time and your attention. Yay!
Thank you very much.